Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to have Alexander back. So, Alexander, welcome back, dude.
Thank you. It's great to be back after 3.5 years or so.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's been a while. Can you please tell everyone again what your full type is?
My full type is double feminine, sleep consume, play blast, NITI. That I should have said first. So I'm an INFJ, but I'm a jumper.
Gotcha. So not the traditional INFJ, like you wouldn't fit in Myers-Briggs.
I wouldn't fit in Myers-Briggs because not only is my second function, or sorry, my second savior is jumping, but also my second animal because I have blast last.
Right, yeah, you're like the weird INFJ that doesn't use like the NF blast. And then the double activated extrovert sensing at the bottom, right? That's so strange.
I think it's quite weird, and Dave, I think in his original message, I listened to it again a couple of weeks ago. He said that I look a bit more like an IP at first, but it's actually it's very clear. I think also that I'm an observer. I'm not a decider, but you see kind of the TI quite well as well.
Right. So we'll talk about your social type later on as well. So
Exactly.
mentioned
I don't
earlier,
know yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about in the second half. So what has your journey been like working on that NF blast last of yours since like our initial conversation? Like, would you say you've made progress towards, getting started, organizing your thoughts, and then presenting it to the tribe in a organized and concise manner instead of like, like the blast last, you know, mumble talk kind of deal? Like, what has been your experience with that over the years?
That's a great question. And when you asked me, hey, let's do an interview again and talk about how your journey has been, I watched the old interview we did 3 years ago, and I said, my God, that was terrible to listen to because I am really bad at talking. And it's gotten much better. I think if you compare the old video and now this one, hopefully, but I think there will be quite a big difference, is because I've really practiced to speak more clearly, because I tend to mumble, or I used to mumble a lot. I think that's gotten much better because I try to be much more conscious of how I pronounce certain things, that I try to speak more slowly, and that helps. I still sometimes my language is a bit like messed up because I'll just have breaks where my brain is trying to figure out, okay, what's coming next. Um, but I think that has gotten better, like the whole speaking thing. Also because I work as a recruiter now, or I've worked as a recruiter for the past 4 years now. So it forced me to talk a lot and really to practice that. Um, Getting the right message across, that's perhaps still a bit difficult. And I noticed that sometimes I'll say things and people look at me like, what are you saying? Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Um, so I think that is something that's still a bit weak, is packaging the message well. And yeah, getting started, that's still difficult. But I think I've made improvements everywhere a bit. But the biggest one has really been on actually talking, just saying whatever comes to my mind and not fumbling around or being unsure. Let's say that's definitely the biggest improvement.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. So you work as a recruiter. I'm curious, like what kind of recruiter? There's like many kinds of recruiters, right? Like what did you do? That's kind of fascinating. That's like a high play kind of job, right?
Yeah, it is. And you've worked as a recruiter too in the past, right?
Yeah, I did it for like a year for like two different companies. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started out as more of a headhunter, so for a recruitment agency in the life science area because I studied biology and that's how I kind of got into that field. And now I'm with a medtech company, so directly with the company instead of being, let's say, an external.
Gotcha. And
So I
then
try to find, specialized people, engineers, and so
oh, I see. I see. Gotcha. Okay. I'm just asking
on.
you because I'm trying to figure out what your social type is. So kind of curious. But we'll go back to that later on because I'm just curious about the social type thing. But okay, cool. So it sounds like to me, based on your description, that even though you are able to speak better now, being infodom is still difficult because like people are confused at some of the stuff that you're saying because like Like it's kind of what David Chan said, where like infodoms are good at having the back and forth conversation because they can do the consume and the blast. It's not missing for both sides of that. But then when it comes to like, let's say, parties or social events where you're not supposed to be info dom, you're supposed to be energy dom, you're supposed to be goofing around, you're supposed to be like having fun, supposed to be an exchange of energy. Like the info dom screwed up because they're having a serious conversation. We should be just being an idiot essentially, right? Like you're supposed to be like goofing off, right? So the time and place for both, right? Like when you're going on a date, you don't want to be info dom, right? Then becomes an interview. You want to you want to do like the energy dom stuff, right? But like if you're like in a job interview or something, then you want to be infodom or some kind of work related stuff. So time and place for both. So what has your experience been like with like that aspect of it? Like where like the infodom is not as strong, but the energy dom part is definitely your home base. So like when it comes to like social events and place where you're supposed to have fun, like or energy dom supposed to have an advantage. Do you feel like it's easy for you to let loose, have fun with people, just have that like energy exchange, and it's not like a big deal? Or I mean, I know you're technically like double introverted, but your social type also affects that, right?
So I thought about this, and because I have also demon play and it's feminine play, let's say at a party, I'm not, I can, like having fun is not the problem, but things like, getting drunk and dancing, that's just not my thing. I think I'm way too, let's say, against that. I'm very hesitant still of trying new things or saying, if I've tried something and I didn't really like it, then it's even harder for someone to convince me to do it again. Because for me, I'll think, well, I didn't like this. Like, why should I, go out partying when I know that I don't like it? Um, I think otherwise, I'm good at I'm good at socializing. Just general also chit chat or small talk. Even I've practiced that, so that's not so much the issue. And I tend to get along well with kind of everyone I meet, even at parties, unless they're really annoying. But if I want to just have even a meaningless conversation, that's fine, and I can just go along. Um, yeah, I'm not sure if that answers the question well, but just in regards to like parties and events and going outside meeting people.
Okay, yeah, you can do small talk pretty much. It's not a problem for you, like having small talk and whatnot. Okay,
No.
cool. What about the actual NF part of NF Blast? Like, what has been your experience with the NF side of things? First of all, do you believe the NF stuff? Because a lot of people with NF Blast, they don't believe NF, right? Some do, some don't, right? So I want to know which camp you're in first before we go deeper.
I'm for sure in the I don't believe NF camp. For I think I'm much too rational, and because my SE is also activated in a savior state,
Yeah,
and it's also double activated because of two functions.
yeah.
I'm much I'm way too much in the area of, look, if you'll show me that there's any evidence that this is actually true, I'll believe you. But if you just say, oh, I can take an example. One of my colleagues at work, and I like her, and she's an F, like she's very an F. But
Yeah.
I like her. She's cool. And but for example, she'll do gluten free because she thinks like it's more healthy to live gluten free. And I'll think, well, good for you, and I'm not gonna argue with that, but I don't believe that. Or if it's saying, she's very into energies and these types of things. And for me, it's like, yeah, maybe I can read about it, but if I don't see any kind of evidence, I'm not really gonna believe it.
I think those who are like lead NF or something, if they don't have ST in the third animal, then their NF is crazy. That's just my opinion. From what I've seen, like I know a lot of people are watching this and they're like, "Oh, that's me. You're calling me crazy." I'm like, "Yes, you are, unfortunately." Because like,
Definitely, yeah.
they're a balance, right? The NF and ST is a balance. So
Mhm.
um, from my perspective, I have NF and ST in the middle, right? So I do believe NF heavily, but it must be backed up by ST. That's my perspective. Like because I do think NF is definitely real. Like especially like I've been following a lot of Julian Blanc, the ISTP. He you'll know him because he's Swiss also. Do you know him? Have you seen his videos?
Julian.
Blanc. Yeah. He got in trouble
Oh,
like several years ago for because he was teaching guys how to pick up girls and stuff, and he went a little bit like overboard because he's an IP, right? Like so, and he got like the worst tribe hate, like the worst tribe hate you could ever imagine. Like the whole world like shut him down pretty much. It's like
really?
absolutely the worst tribe hate you could ever experience. And then he's actually fixed himself now, and
Mhm.
actually coaching
Mhm.
women now too. So he got married too before he was like the ultimate player. So he actually completely changed. But it's cool. But like, so the cool thing about him is like, I think why I respect him so much is he he's an ISTP who's preaching NF now, which is absolutely insane. And he's like go all in at NF, and it's actually really good NF too. Like I was watching his videos. He has like a ladder of like trauma and emotion and whatnot, and like he's the fact that he's ST, he can like give you ST facts to back up the NF claims, which is I think is absolutely amazing. It's like someone that's lead ST is the best at it. Like after seeing it, I'm like, oh, the best NF is from STs because um they have all this they organize it into like NF after like years of experience. They managed to like narrow it down, right? Um
And they put in the work, right? They had to work to get it to that level. Whereas if you're savior, you're just, you know, kind of abusing it, right?
Yeah, like I'll give you one
You
example
just
that he provided, which I thought was like absolutely like mind blowing to me. Because like like with the objective personality, one of the teachings is like being a victim is bad. You have to be growth mindset, right? That's kind of like the thing. But then in Julian's like emotional ladder thing, he said if someone is in a state of apathy, telling them that they're a victim is the best advice you can give them because it's gonna pull them out of the state of apathy actually. So it
mm,
moves them up one in the ladder. And then there's like a ladder. So after apathy, it becomes like something else, you know? And then afterward, there's something else like fear and, blah, blah, like courage, and then and then like the advice is different depending where you are in the ladder. And it's like sometimes some of the advice sounds kind of like controversial where it's like, you're telling someone they're a victim? What the heck? And then he's like, no, 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 no. They're a victim to get them out of that place. And then after they're out of that place, then the advice is different to move them up the ladder to something else. And then and it's like, and then there's like a different problem that arises, And it's like, and he backs
mm,
it up with like factual evidence, working with so many people over the years, right? He's like, you're not going to be able to move this person by giving them motivational talk and be like, take responsibility for your life. Like, no, 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 that's a different part of the ladder where you tell them responsibility is the next thing. Like it's kind of interesting. So like when I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is what NF and ST looks like in a balanced state. It's like,
mm,
this is the NF solution, but here is the ST evidence to show that this is actually the solution, not like this general solution, you know,
mm.
just be responsible, uh, you know, be tough, whatever, right? Like, it's not like one size fits all kind of deal, right? So
Exactly. Exactly. It's
yeah.
balanced. But yeah.
So knowing that, do you still not believe the NF then? Like that there is like you can balance it with ST, like if done correctly.
No, no, no. You're right. And there's one part where I've kind of seen. I think that's what I would describe as an F. So, for example, when I leave my apartment, I'll have the feeling that I forgot something,
Okay.
and then I'll go through kind of my things. Okay, I'll go to the tram, and then I'll need to get a ticket with my phone, and then I'll get to the office. I need to badge in. Okay, where's my badge? I forgot my badge. Like that happened to me recently. And I'll get this just this sensation that something's wrong, and in that moment, I don't know what is wrong. And then I'll have to find the the SE basically. At least that's how I thought about it, and yeah, then I can figure it out. Does that would you say that qualifies as NF?
Yeah, it does actually, because I think David Chan released a video recently of this ESFP woman who didn't go to work because she
Mhm.
felt like something bad was gonna happen. And then something did bad happen where like she was working in those toll booths and like a truck ran over the toll booth that she was working in like the next day. And like the fact there was no explanation for this other than NF. Like she had a intuition. But then David Chan also said, yeah, but like if you look at it from a macro scale, there's a lot of people that felt like something bad was gonna happen the next day and she
Nothing happened.
and then nothing happened. So
Yeah.
for her, it
Yeah.
did happen. And it's good that she trusted the NF, obviously, but
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
it's randomized almost, right?
Yeah. And so basically I'm saying this stuff exists, I think. And
Yeah.
in some cases you can see it. The thing is it would be very I mean, yeah. Humans have intuition. I think that's clear. How good it is a different question. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be good for some people and bad because maybe all the people that thought something bad was gonna happen but nothing happened. Maybe they're all STs, so the intuition is crap. Or I don't know. Maybe that would be an interesting question to go through. So I'm not 100% against like the NF stuff, but my general, let's say, general stance is like it's probably it's probably wrong.
Yeah.
So maybe I still have to do some work on being more open minded there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely worth investigating just to see like how you can use it to benefit you at least. Because there is some benefits to it, like to use NF, right? Like and it is woo-woo, but there is benefits to it at the same time. Like for example, um like for people with NF last, I always like recommend you should watch a lot of NF content online. Like people who are like making NF messages. And yes, the thing is like you'll hear some stuff that you think is BS and you can just throw it away. That's okay. But there's gonna be aspects of it that you'll be like, oh, this actually sounds legit, And then you take that in, right? Like the ones that sounded legit, you take it in. So that's how I approach NF personally. It's like I'm like crazy
Mm-hmm.
talk. Oh, but we talk about vibrations. Okay, crazy. That's crazy. Get out
Mm-hmm.
vibration talk, right? And then when
Mm-hmm.
people start talking about trauma, I'm like, okay, trauma's real. Trauma's real. Okay.
Definitely will. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, and what's like how do you approach trauma? And then they'll talk about like the NF ways to approach trauma, and I'll be like, oh, that's really interesting. Okay, so I'll put that in, and then if they start talking about vibrations again, I'll be like, nope, that's BS. Get out vibrations, right? You know, um, you know, so like lower frequency, all the talk. I'm like, nope, no frequency talk. That's BS. But
Good.
like,
We can agree on that. Yeah.
yeah. So it's but like you
The
can like
start lines.
you
No.
can filter through when it sounds like BS and when it sounds real. And then when you start almost like, oh, that person's NF vibe is off. That's real. Like people do have NF vibes, and like NF vibe is pretty much their emotional state, and like you can't explain it, but something's off about this person, right? And usually it's like
Mm-hmm.
in authenticity, and you can pick it off, especially if you're a double decider. You can pick up like something's off about this person's behavior. So that's like NF,
You
right?
know,
Yeah.
my partner, she always says that she has a very good sense of people, and I think it's usually quite good. Interesting enough, she's a masculine TE lead, so she has
Okay.
an FI right at the bottom. So I'm not sure what that means, but I just find it interesting that she would say, well, it kind of makes sense. It's her demon, so she wants to be good at you know at the NF basically because I
Your
think he's
your
just
partner got titled
ESI.
officially.
No, but I mean, in the past 3 years, I think what I can definitely say is that she's a decider. And
Okay.
I think, when I got my type, I would say I didn't understand, let's say, the animals very well. And I've gotten a bit of an understanding of the functions and the imbalance, for example, observer versus decider. I took a bit of a break from OPS and then I got back to it. And usually that also helps me because I need time to process everything, right? Because I'm lead sleep crackhead. And then I think nowadays, even now in the office, when I just hear someone talk, I'm like, okay, that's like decider talk, crazy about people,
Yeah.
just insane, like talking about, oh, I feel so bad looking at people at LinkedIn. I feel like a stalker, and being really weird about it. And then I just responded, well, that's just my job. That's normal. And I could see, that person seems to be decider. Now, I don't know if my person is this type, but I think triangulating, seeing the difference between us, I'm fairly certain.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's pretty easy to see decide or weird, so it's completely possible. Yeah. Although I did interview this ENTP guy in my channel, and he thought his partner was a decider. It turns out she was an ESFP. So, like, it's kind of like ESFP, you know.
I can definitely be wrong. I can definitely be wrong. I'm not. This is not like say scientific or anything, and I would never, let's say, put any money on what 512 type she is.
Yeah.
But I bet some money that she has masculine TV. But
I
anyway,
think the
that's a
fact
different
that
topic.
you're an IJ, there is like a high probability your partner is an EP archetype of some sort. Like even if it's like an EJ EP, but it would be like in the um gather over organize category, just because it's like a natural pairing, right? It's like just happens,
Mm.
right? Usually like so like I said, it doesn't have to be like, you know,
That's
EP, it'd be like a Shan type, right? Like a jumper ENTJ or something, There's like who are still like
mhm,
EP-ish, right?
mhm.
So yeah.
I'll take that. I take that into consideration. That's a good.
Yeah, I don't see like
Rapidly.
I don't see two OIs dating. It doesn't like I'm like I don't see it happening. Usually like there is like it doesn't work like long term. Like, it's gonna fall apart, like when the two OIs date, or there's something off with the relationship. Like for example, like Casey Neistat, who is like similar type as you, his wife is an ISTJ. I'm like two IJ. That's why they don't seem to click very well. The only thing they click about is their sexual modality, right? MF and FM, but like everything else is like something's off. I think two IJ shouldn't be dating. It doesn't like it doesn't
It's very
fit.
NF talk, but no, fair enough. Mm.
No, but it doesn't fit because like you're both using this doing the same role, which is organizing. It doesn't fit. There's like the chemistry is gonna be not there. Uh, you know, so like if you look at it from a chemistry standpoint, opposites attract, right? Which is true, even though it's like NF, right? It's true. And it makes sense because like you need to have different roles in this relationship, you
That
know.
is true. Yes.
So it makes perfect sense, right? Like even if it's like you're an IJ, the person's an EP, right? Or EP archetype, then automatically they also have to be an IJ or EJ, sorry, because you're an IP. You're like a IJ IP, right? Or yeah, right? So then you have to take different roles because it's weird when you have the same role, right? If you're both tribe above self or both self above tribe, then like it's like, oh, so I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't work like for like that aspect. Like there's gonna be like something has to be opposite at least. Otherwise, it's not gonna click.
Definitely.
Yeah. Um, okay, cool. So what about since I don't think this is even exists now because after having our conversation now, like I was gonna say, what about the NF blast side? I'm like, I don't see you blasting NF stuff because like you don't even believe it to begin with. Like, how are you gonna blast it if you don't believe it? So, um, so I'm just gonna ignore that question then because I'm like, okay, you're not gonna NF blast because you know
Yeah. What's the point? Perhaps. Yeah. It's a good
maybe not
question.
right now, maybe 10 years from now, like I talk to you, you're like, oh yeah, no, I believe NF now, and like this is how I blast it.
Mhm.
NF is this specific thing, So I'm like, oh, okay, So right now it's non-existent at the moment. So right now it's just the blast that you're doing, the actual speaking up, the organizing your thoughts into words, essentially.
Just a minor side note. I used to be into NF stuff when I was maybe 10 years ago when I was like late teenage years.
Yeah.
But then I changed again. So yeah.
Okay.
Maybe in 10 years ago. Who knows?
So it'll switch. It could switch in and out kind of deal.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's talk about your social type next. So you haven't been officially typed with your social type, but I feel like most people are actually aware of their social type, like, or pretty close. Do you want me to guess first what your social type is, or do you want to just tell me what it is, or what you think it is?
Tell me what you think.
I think you're a 4, but that's just my guess. That's just like
Mhm.
that's just like the vibe you give me. What do you think you are?
I'm definitely not one. That's I think very very obvious.
Yeah.
Mm, I'm not sure about being a 3 either because I'm way too. Yeah, I'm not really. Yeah, from the description, I don't think I'm a 3 either. So 4 could be. I was also thinking about 2, but it's been this, because I think that there has been some quite some change in my life. So when I was studying, I was hugely involved in, you know, getting a student project going. Like we also um, built up this student association, and I was always in the middle of it. And by, well, I never really aimed at being like the person in charge, but eventually I just was. And that was, kind of 3 years. That was a really, really great time for myself. So I loved that. And then even after university, I just wanted to kind of continue that. So I just wrote to a bunch of people, and we again built like a website from scratch. We wanted to kind of influence like scientific opinion, or not scientific opinion, but we wanted just to share and talk about certain scientific topics. And then that was a big part of my life. So I was, spending a lot of time with these projects after work or on the weekends. And then I met my now partner. And then I kind of realized that this stuff is all fun, and I really enjoy it. But the time with her is much more important to me. So I value that much more. And I'm still a bit sad that I had to leave, these projects behind, because now, we spend a lot of time together. So that's why we don't really, it doesn't make sense for me to kind of be in the lead to anymore. And so I think it speaks for either type 4 or type 2, because, yeah, I started out more as a type 2, but then I kind of realized, no, like the relationship is it. So I'm not sure if I now discovered, like in a, that this is like, so the demon thing that I discovered is like the number 4, um, because I'm a number 2, if that makes sense. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Yeah.
I see. Okay, so you can definitely tell for yourself. You've saved your friends, at least. That's like the thing that you could tell. Like, oh, because like if you're 2 and 4, save your friends is what they both have in common, right? So like for you,
Mm-hmm.
feel confident. Like, oh yeah, definitely save your friends. Like, is that something that sounds about right to you? Like,
I'm not sure I got the question. Could you repeat it? Sorry.
well, like I don't know if you're aware of the social type cross checks or the social type, like how the order works. Are you aware of how it works? Like, like.
Not for everything from the top of my head.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'll just give you a quick like rundown then. So number two's
Sure.
their savior is generalist plus friend.
Mm-hmm.
So that's their savior.
Yes.
The minor demon is flex, or you can call it. You can also call it like kind of how they describe animals, which is like your hobby social type. So your hobby
Yeah.
social type would be flex, and then um specialist would be the last, right? And
That
then
was the last. Yeah.
yeah, and then if
Mm-hmm.
you're on number 4, your first one is friends, and then specialist second. Hence why a lot of number 4s are actually really good at their job, because they actually have that specialist. They're like absolutely amazing, like top like super elite level, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
not that they like, and they do care about like being good at that thing, but the friends always comes first, right? And then like the third one
Yes.
is generalist, like not missing broad responsibility, because generalist is broad responsibility, right? And then last one is the ego flex number 1, right? Which
Yeah.
is which is what triggers that
Yes.
essentially. So knowing that, would you say then that the save your friends is in fact true for you? Like you're like, oh yeah, I like people, I like connections, I like relationships. Like it's obviously you're a double introvert, but like it's still an important part of your life, because there's a lot of people who are double introverted. Like there's people I interviewed who are like play last, who are like number 4, and they're like, yeah, no, they're like they love people even though they're play last, right? So it's like it's always interesting to see like the uh that aspect. And like cognitive dissonance is also real, because if you're play last but you're high friends, it's like it's like you know
It doesn't match up with type. Yeah.
it'll
Match up.
like you'll feel like cognitive dissonance in yourself. Like you're like, oh, it's like I want to do this, but because of my animal I'm not doing it, kind of deal. It's annoying,
Yeah.
frustrating. So yeah, so for you, again, going
Mhm.
back to the original question, do you feel like friendship, relationship, that thing, that aspect is like, you know what, that's important to you at least?
Mhm. Mhm. It The friends part is important. I think it's just that the relationship, the intimate relationships that I have, like that's the, you know, the most important by far. And I never really imagined it that way. To be honest, I never thought it would be that intense. And the friends are important, and this is where I might have this kind of cognitive dissonance. But it's for me like I don't want to meet friends like every week. That's a bit too much.
Right.
I don't want to, you know, I like to meet with friends, but not all the time and not that intensely. And in any case, I have a very small circle of friends, like very double introvert style. So yeah, I feel it's very challenging because I thought at the beginning it was more of a type 2 thing, and then I kind of abandoned this, like the generalist thing, doing a bunch of stuff. On the other hand, I don't really see myself as a and I don't really see myself as a specialist because I'm thinking I'll learn this job right now, but for sure I'm not going to do it for the rest of my life. Like that'd be wrong. Like already in the previous company, after 2 years, I thought, okay, I know how to do the job now. So what can I do now? Because I've already learned it. There's no point in me doing this for more. So what's next? And then I managed to get promoted. I had a small team, but then yeah, it kind of fizzled out because I had to leave. I didn't like the job itself that much anymore. So yeah, that's why I think it's rather 2 than 4. But hey,
So Dave did say that number 4's job hop a lot. They change jobs all the time. So
really,
yeah, I interviewed a lot of number 4s, and they would tell me, it's like, oh yeah, I've worked for like, there was one guy who he had like a new job every year. And I'm like, I'm surprised you're still getting hired by people. Like that did not make your resume look bad. So number
yeah,
4 are number 4's another cross check for them is they like to chase hobbies, like for on the side of outside of work. You know, they have like hobbies that they like to chase. So for them, chasing the hobbies is very important. Although like David Chan recently, or Dave specifically, is saying like, oh, he doesn't yet quite know what like the double introverted NITI number 4s, like he doesn't quite know yet what they're exactly like the clustering for them, because they're not, because he doesn't have enough data on his thing where like he doesn't have like 50 of you guys and be like, oh, this
yeah.
is the pattern, because it's still rather new, right? So that's why he typed Otem as a number 4. Even though Otem thinks he's a number 2, but then at first Otem was like, that's why Otem gets it.
Okay.
But like he actually typed Otem like several times already, because like Otem kept going back. It's like, it doesn't feel right, number 4. And then Dave kept going through the cross check, right? And he's like, he's like, he's like, he still seems like 4. That's what he said, right? He can't go to 2 for him for some reason. Like it doesn't fit for some reason. But it's like, but he's like, oh yeah, but like the number 4 for you guys is gonna look different for like number 4s for like the other type. So he's still building up the database for you guys, and it's starting to look like it looks a little bit different. So still the high friends is still there, but it's like it looks a little bit different, kind of like how you're describing, where you don't see them every week, but you still care. You care, but you don't want to see them every week, kind of deal.
Yeah. And for example, I recently also noticed, now that I work in a much bigger company and I look at some of the more senior people and how much they work,
Yeah.
I'm feeling, why would I ever want to do that? Okay, you get paid vast amount of money. On the other hand, I'm also, I'm very happy with what I earn. And what's the point in me working 60, 70 hours a week and having all this stress when I won't be able to spend time with, doing stuff that I like in my free time? So
Right.
that would add more to like the number 4.
Right.
And it would make kind of, it would make sense that the number 4 is for our type look very different, because you'd expect those people to have play, maybe, much more anyhow, be more extroverted.
Yeah.
And if Otim got typed as a 4, I'm more than happy to also get typed as a 4, and I should, maybe for the sake of science, I should get retyped, so that they get some more data.
Yeah. Well. No. It's what's crazy is a lot of people they're submitting their their application for social typing with Dave and Shan. And then when they get their social type back, they also get a different, like their animals also change. And then they're like, they're like, I only came in for a social typing, and now like I'm a like my type is it's different also. Like not completely like you like for example, like there was one guy in the community, he's an ESFP. And so he submitted it in for like social typing. And when he got it back, he's like, what? I went from standard to jumper ESFP? I'm like, what the heck? Like, so it's like, oh, it's kind of interesting to go there and get that social type, because some for a lot of people, their animals get retyped, or their sexual modalities get retyped also. Especially as like they get to know you, they're like, oh, like there's people in the community who are like double feminine, who are now double masculine, for example. So it's kind of I think it's really good in my opinion, because like I feel like the second time they go through your thing, it's like, oh, now that we have more data about your specific type, and like now we're watching you, and the cross checks have also evolved to be much more cleaner now than before. The cross check before was not as clean. It's like, oh, you're not this animals too, like on top of your social type, right? But yeah,
And
sorry.
this makes sense, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
you wanted to ask something, yeah.
No, I just don't want to mention, like, even for me, like the first time I got typed was not the double blind. I talked to Dave on the phone like long time ago, and he typed me as an ENFP, NETE, play, consume, blah, sleep, right? MF. And then like I submitted my documents in for double blind, and this was before retyping was a thing. 'Cause now they have retyping. Before there was no retyping, so I got retyped before like this was a thing. Submitted my documents for double blind, and it was actually better that I did that, because like I actually met them in person. And then when I submitted my stuff, they're like, "Oh, you're not play consume, you're play blast." I'm like, "What?" Like I'm the most extroverted ENFP type, and then like for the longest time I was the only one like this type. There's like no one in the community. Recently, someone got retyped also, who was also play, consume, blast, sleep. Now he's play blast also. So it's like an NETE also. So I'm like, oh, okay, now there's two of us. It's like, oh, it's kind of interesting that the retyping thing is definitely good. Like I said, at least you can see. But yeah, for sure, I think it's good that you do it, because like I think it'll improve their database too, because they don't have very many people, the NITIs, right? So it's like, oh, we have another sample, and they can like add it and see what you guys are like. So then it's like, oh, the number 4 NITIs look like this. They're not at all like the typical number 4s who are like, yay, friends. They're a little bit like they care about friends, but there's like a distance kind of deal. You know what I mean? So
That sounds like a very accurate description for
yeah, but
for
still
for
care,
this. Yeah.
still care a lot deeply, but
For
distance
sure.
with distance, right? So, like even for me, like they had trouble with the 2 and 4. 2 and 4 is like the hardest to type, I think, because like they're so like the save your friends gets in the way, right? And then I also submitted my documents into Dave, because like Dave was telling everyone in the community, hey, this Kendrick guy is the number 4, right? I was like, what? I don't think I'm a number 4 at all. Like I don't like relate to it whatsoever. You know what? But I'm open to it if he can tell me why I'm number 4. Like if you give me the information. I just because I'm info dump, I just need to have the facts. So give me the facts, and I'm okay with it, right? So submit my documents and whatnot, and then yeah, and then you're supposed to and then the things when you submit your type now, they have like a supporting document section now. They didn't have that before. Now you can like load it up with supporting document, which is great. So I loaded up with all my supporting document, like a bunch of different, like so much stuff. Like I put in my blog, my travel YouTube channel, right?
Just blathering. Okay.
I made as info dominant as possible, which is actually good, because they're actually becoming more info dominant now, which is good. So the biggest thing for me was like why I felt like I was not a 4, why I felt like I was a 2. I was like, first of all, my animal stack, because like I don't know if you're aware of this, but like each animal actually activates a social type. Did you know that?
I think I saw one of your videos on that, and which animal is related to the social types. Yeah.
Okay, so
If you mean that.
play activates friends, right? And then
Yes.
sleep activates ego flex, right? And then blast activates specialization, and consume activates broad responsibility / generalist. Okay, so you're aware of that, right?
Shouldn't shouldn't blast activate the type 1?
No, because
It's no sleep?
no, because if you
Yeah,
look,
yeah, sorry.
no, it's a good point that you're making, and a lot of like number threes were arguing about that. But ultimately, if you look at what Blast is doing, you're taking your known information and you are executing upon it, and that is what specialization is doing. Is that's how you hone your craft. It's like Bruce Lee, right? It's like I don't fear the man that knows 1,000 kicks. I fear the man that knows one kick and practices it 1,000 times. You know, that's like Blast, right? Like taking your known information and executing it over and over again. And then if you look at sleep, it's like me. So that's like flex, like me, right? Like that's what flex, that's what sleep is. And then if you look at the animals that activates social type number one, it's sleep, so me, and then consume, external self-awareness. So from the outside to me. So me inside, me outside, me, right? So number one. So at least that's how I see it, right? But then that's how David Chan said the activations work. So you know, it's like consume, right? Like with consume, the reason why it's a generalist is because you're gathering skill sets, but it doesn't mean you're practicing it. So you have all these different skills, but you're not practicing it with the blast. So that's becomes a problem because then you have a lot of stuff that is like unmastered essentially, or like lack of competence because lack of practice, right? Essentially. So um anyways, if you look at that, that's how people get cognitive dissonance. So for you, for example, if you're a 4, but then you're sleep first, you're like, oh, your ego flex is being activated, and your friends is a demon because of play, right? And then you have consume second. So if you're number 4, you should have blast second, right? But then you have consume
No.
instead, and you're doing the generalist stuff instead. So it's like weird, right? So you're like your animal stack is built as a number 1, but then you're not, and then if you're not, it's like, oh my god, it's like, so now you look like something else when you're actually not that thing. So um in your case, like you would have a cognitive dissonance regardless if you're 2 and 4. It's either like a huge cognitive dissonance if you're a 4, or a minor cognitive dissonance if you're 2. But regardless, you are going to be having cognitive dissonance. Do you feel like you have cognitive dissonance?
Thank you. I appreciate the how do you say the diagnosis, but I think if I have cognitive dissonance, perhaps a bit, because sometimes I'll have this kind of urge or thoughts that I feel I need to contribute in a way to society, or kind of be someone. And with someone, I mean someone that is more, let's say, recognized, like more exceptional.
Okay.
Well, perhaps that is what you mean. Other than that, I don't notice it that like crazily.
Oh, okay.
At least I'm
It's
not aware of it.
hard to say at this point for now. At the moment, it's hard to say, you would say.
Yeah, very interesting.
Okay. Yeah, because when I submitted my documents for social typing, if you look at my animal stack, play, blast, consume, sleep, that is a straight flush number 4, right? And I look like a number 4 as a result. But then I was telling Dave, I'm like, it doesn't feel right. I don't feel like a number 4. Because number 4, their focus is relationship and friendship. And I'm like, I love my friends and family, but they're not my number 1 focus. My number 1 focus is work. I'm obsessed with work. And I told Dave, I'm like, I'm not missing flex. I have flex. That's why I said to him, right? I'm like, I've been to 100 plus countries. Like I flex about that all the time. I tell people I've been to 100 countries. Like I want my name attached to something more important than just being the friendly guy, and I sneak away to work. you know like I'll, even if my friends and family want to hang out, I'm like, I need to work. I need to build my business. I need to build my YouTube channel. I need to go to my day job. I always have a day job, and I always have a side hustle, right? I usually have 2 side hustles and 2 day jobs usually. Like I just obsessed with work. Like number 2s are obsessed with working, right? And then they're all in different areas too, right? Because like number 2s, they don't do like the same thing. So I was a recruiter, personal trainer, YouTuber for personality, and then YouTuber and blogger for travel. So I have like all this different stuff, right? So it's like, so I sent it to him and he's like, oh, you are not missing flex, like number one. And then number two is like, you are sneaking away to work. Like your friends and family wants you to hang out, but you're like, got to work, need to work above friends, right? Um,
Yeah.
even though you have double activated play, it's like, nope, I'm gonna hide in a corner and work, and then that's ultimately how we became a two, right? So it's like that's why I was asking you about yours, because it's like the social type is still gonna show up regardless of your animal stack. So for you, when you said earlier, I don't see the point of working out like 60, 70, 80 hours per week. Because that doesn't make sense. I have hobbies outside of work. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a four. And then when you said, oh, you don't want to be just like a nobody, you want like some thing to your name. I'm like, oh, it's because you're lead TI and your lead sleep. So your number one is not missing. Like it's being activated even though you have it technically fourth if you are like a number a social type four. And then if you look at it from like a double decider, double observer standpoint, you will have generalist and specialist in the middle. So you're like you can do the double thing. So if you need to generalize, you can. If you need to specialize, you can. They're in the middle, right? Like number
Mm-hmm.
two, they have trouble doing that. You know, so the fact that you said,
True.
"Oh, I had a job where I was doing the more generalist, like managerial stuff," it's fine. Oh, you have a job, you're a specialist, it's fine. So I'm like, oh, it sounds like you're doing the double generalist specialization thing, and you're like comfortable with it, like either or kind of deal. But I want to hear what your perspective is on that.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how the system develops there, because for all of the things like the decider, observer, the animals, and so on, like Dave and John always talk about, you know, forget the anecdotes. What are you responsible for? What are the let's say the savior versus demon? So they haven't talked in their videos too much about that yet. So I think for them, I mean, they said they're still kind of building the system. They're still like really discovering it and making it more solid. So yeah, I'm still not too clear. Or when I try to think about it, I try to think more about what is a type one responsible for, what they do not respect, and with these, as you said, like friends, journalists, specialists, whatever. I'm not sure if it makes sense to look at it that way, but that's how I try to view it, because the rest of the system is working like that. So that seems to be the pattern. So my intuition would be to follow that,
Sure.
but perhaps that's wrong in this case. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, I think the number ones are the easiest to see then, because they're responsible for their their status in the tribe, right? So, like
Exactly.
it's and number ones, when they talk to people, David Chan calls it professional. I call it like they have ulterior motives. Um, so they'll say something, but if you transcribe what they say, it actually means something else. Because everything they say is to boost up their status. You know, there's always
Mm-hmm.
some kind of like ulterior motive to the words that they're saying. Um, and
Yeah.
it's that's why they're weird with people, because number ones are weird. They're kind of like almost like a decider almost, but they're like it's almost like um yeah, it's almost like you're an IP almost because even if you're like an EJ number one, right? Because you still care about your status first and foremost above everything else. And you know, yes, it feels like a cognitive dissonance if you're an EJ number one, because you're pretending to be playing nice with a tribe, but really the
Mm-hmm.
tribe is used as a stepping stone to boost your status. It is not it's not the final goal, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Arnold
And then
Schwarzenegger.
there's second. Sorry?
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger is a good example, right? Like he's a ENTJ, but he's like a number one, and then it's obvious he's a number one, like
He's a clear number one, yeah.
super obvious, you know.
Mm-hmm. And then he would be his second would be generalist, right? His second
Yeah, and it makes sense because
category, right?
yeah, if
Yeah,
you look at his career, right? He's doing a bunch of different stuff outside of the same role. Like
yeah.
he's not just acting or bodybuilding or a politician. He was doing all three, right? So it's like completely different role. But what they all had in common was status. Like, bodybuilding, Mr. Olympia, number one, wanted,
Mm,
first place. Acting, that's clout, that's fame, right? High status, Hollywood, right? A politician, being a politician, high status again. You are in charge of people,
he was governor, right?
Yeah,
No,
the governor, right?
yeah,
Governor, that's what they
yeah,
call it, right? Of
yeah,
California.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but if you look at the pattern, it's like, oh yeah, flex, ego, status. That's what they all had in common, right? So yeah, even if he was an EJ,
Mm,
even if he was an EJ, you know, like that IP number 4 would be bowing to him, right? It's like,
mm,
I mean, a lot of people would be bowing to him because he has a legendary career, right? So, um, like that's a good thing about number 1 is like they do have a legendary career. Like I mean the talented ones at least, because David Chan did say there's a lot of number ones with no talent. So sad. Or at least they're in the wrong field, because like
maybe in fields, maybe they're in the wrong environment, or maybe they're just. I mean, what happens? I mean, if someone is, let's say, if someone has like mental disorders, like,
yeah,
I mean, OP hasn't addressed it at all, which also makes sense. I mean, this is
yeah.
very complex stuff. But let's say someone with autism, can that person be a type 1? Like, does it even make sense to apply OPS to someone with who's on the spectrum, for example? And how does that then affect whatever? I mean, that's like very far stuff. But for
Oh,
example, that would be
they type a lot of people with mental health disorder number ones. So it's a thing for sure. But I don't know if in reality that they do manifest the number 1 role, like the status. Like I don't know if they actually manifest it. Um,
yeah.
the inner
But they
drive.
still feel responsible for it, or they still are driven to that. They feel like they have to,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
The drive is there, but the result might not be because of the what's hindering them, right? Like
Mhm,
the
mhm,
mental health disorder. So yeah, for sure, that's definitely an issue, for sure. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting, like to see like a number 4 IP, right? Like for example, like they love people. Like Keanu Reeves is like a number 4 IP, right? So he's famous and
mhm.
he has clout, but he doesn't care about that. He wants to help people. He loves people, right? Giving food to the homeless and stuff. And he's double introverted like you also, right? So consume, sleep, like play blast, I think. So um
Mhm.
yeah, so for sure. All right, dude. I think I asked you all the questions already. Is there anything else that you want to bring up before we wrap up this interview? Like that we haven't addressed, or you want people to know about you, or whatever?
There was actually something in the beginning that I want to mention
Yeah,
regarding developing the blast last,
sure.
and that is something that I noticed, and maybe this can help some people. But for me, and this relates to something that Dave said once, or in some of the videos, that if you look at most days on average, people go through their functions, like in their stack, and at the end of the day, like they then, when there's no energy left, they do kind of the last animal or the last function or whatever.
Right.
So what in my work, I have to communicate a lot, right? I have to call people or send emails or whatever, and it helped me to do, let's say, my last function, or the thing I'm worst at the very beginning of the day, when probably because I'm also energy dom, that I do it when I still have energy, because if I try to do it at 2 p.m. when I'm kind of in my afternoon low and I'm kind of tired, then there's much more resistance for me to do that. For example, call 5 people and tell them that they didn't get the job. It's not something that you like to do, but you have to do it. And when you do it when your energy is too high, it's like beginning of the day. It's much easier to just do it. But
Right.
afterwards, I'll get excuses or whatever. So that something interesting I noticed that helped me a lot, actually. Like, start with the thing that you are worst at the beginning of the day somehow.
I feel like when you wake up in the morning, you're almost in your fourth animal sometimes. It's weird. Because I feel like it's like a spillover effect from the night before,
Mm.
so I can see what you're saying for sure, and it's definitely legitimate. Um, yeah, because I have sleep loss and in the morning.
Mhm.
That's why I'm like a night owl, because like I want to like if
Mhm.
I'm following the stuff too, right? Like the kind of like what you said. So
Yes.
I have SF sleep loss. So if I follow the order, so it's like play blast during the day, crackhead, work, blah blah blah. And then nighttime comes, I want to consume now, right? I actually notice I can't sleep if I don't consume first. Like I cannot physically fall asleep. It's interesting. You do have to follow the order, but then if you look at the order, there's like it's like it goes deeper, right? Like for example, for me, I have SF sleep loss, so now I want to listen to music, which is
Mhm.
bad because that like I like to listen to my sleep is double masculine, right? So I like to listen to
Mhm.
aggressive like rap music. So my adrenaline is high. I'm supposed to go to bed, right? And I'm also sleep processing my emotions. So like I'm supposed to be going to sleep, but I'm thinking about my feelings. So it's bad. So sometimes that spillover effect does work. So I don't know about like how your blast. You play blast at the end, so you're gonna be like super energetic at the end of the day. Like, do you see that or no? Like,
Mm, not usually not because my work usually requires a lot of both of those functions. So at the
oh,
end
I
of the day,
see.
I'm tired, and then I just want to kind of relax, not do too much. Because if I do all my day's work and then in the evening, someone asks me, "Oh, can you still like talk to this person or do that, or go there and buy this thing?" I'll be like, I have to do more of going out doing stuff instead of just sitting down and
Yeah,
consuming or just thinking or just calming down, you know.
yeah. Oh my God, my girlfriend is a similar type as you, right? Except she's NIFI, so she's sleep consume play blast also, a double feminine, and like so in the morning she's like mope city, right? Um, but at night
Yeah.
I'm trying to relax. It's consume sleep for me. It's consume sleep time. No more play blast. I'm done with that shit. My girlfriend now play blast activates. She's like, yeah, let's hang out. Let's do fun stuff. I'm like, I don't want to do fun stuff. I want to hide in the dark corner now. Like I want to be alone in the dark corner. So that's why I think like for some of you guys that has like the play blast in the end, you guys go crazy in the end of the day. Like Tom Cruise is a good example also. He's like
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
double masculine play blast comes out and he does crazy shit.
Yeah,
But
that's pretty bad. Dude. Double masculine. Yeah. My
yeah,
place double feminine, so it's totally it's gonna
it's
be
more it's,
different.
it's more chill, I guess. But then my
Yeah.
girlfriend, she her play blast is extreme. Like at the end of the day, she's so hyper. She wants to hang out with me. She wants to hang out with friends. I'm like, aren't you like I was like, you're double introverted and you're like so extroverted all of a sudden. She wants to go out for like drinks with friends and stuff and whatnot.
Mm.
And I'm like,
Mm.
what the hell? Like, that's why everyone's an introvert and extrovert, right? Because like you are doing both. It just depends when, right? So
Exactly. Yeah. And
yeah.
in what state? Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and also like when Dave and Chan are typing people, they're like, "Where are you in your swing right now?" It's like
Yeah.
it's like you could be a mope, but like right now, let's say you're your crackhead play blast swing, right? Are they gonna type just play blast? You know what I mean? Because you're not like so you have to be able to determine that's a demon swing that you're in your swing
Mm.
right now. That's not
Mm.
this is not your default state, and I think that's why like Myers Briggs is kind of like wonky, is because like they don't address that. Like everyone can be everything.
It's super wonky. Exactly. And,
Yeah,
and and the thing is also Myers-Briggs doesn't address things like someone at 50 who already went through all the development, or let's say a lot of the development, and
yeah,
maybe they had feminine demon FI at the very bottom, that's a very tough thing to have. And they'll look very different from a 25-year-old ENTJ that's just completely crazy,
yeah.
on their TV,
Are you
right?
describing your girlfriend? Just kidding.
Something like,
Just joking.
no, something like that. No, no, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I'm just joking. But yeah, no, 100% you're spot on. Yeah, because like if you're play blast and you're young, then you're gonna be crazy, and then when you're old, you're like, I'm done with people. I hate people now. And then for you, you're
Yeah.
like sleep consume right now. You're like, I love people, but hey, please distance. But then when you're like 50 or 60, you're like, hey guys, let's hang out all the time. I'm done with this mope shit. I've already wasted 50 years of my life doing that shit. I'm done. I'm bored with being a mope. You know, let's do play blast now. You know, it's kind of like the cringe INTJ that David Chan always makes fun of, like especially the consume last one. They're like the whole life is like working, building their systems, their scams, their business.
Mhm.
Now they're 50, they're
Mhm.
skateboarding and they look like an idiot. They have a helmet and elbow pads and knee pads and you're 50 and you're like, hell are you doing? You're 50. You should have done this when you're a teenager. What are you doing? You're
You
50.
should have done it on your team. Yes, yes, like the EPs and the and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, you look like an idiot. Like you know. But anyways, whatever. So dude, thanks for coming out and updating me on your current situation. Uh, from my perspective, you do have a lot of room for growth still because you haven't tapped into the NF blast aspect of yourself yet. So I would be curious to hear back from you once you start using NF Blast itself. I know right now you don't believe it, but things always change. So I would in a few years, like let's say you're like, oh my, like something happens to you, you're like, oh my god, this NF Blast thing is real. You know, like I've been using it at work, like it's been elevating you in your work or whatever. So I'll be curious to hear that, and also be curious to hear once you get officially typed for your social type too. And like I also want to hear what like the thought process is like to how that came about. Because maybe you're not even a 2 or 4. Maybe you're like a 3 or something.
Maybe I'm one.
Yeah, or
For
1. Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It doesn't feel like it. I don't feel like you're 1, but like but
No, no.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure about that too.
yeah,
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was really
yeah.
great to talk to you again and like process everything and also talk about it. Really great.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care, Kendrick. Bye bye.